A small cut on your finger, today, you barely think about it. Wash it, maybe slap on a bandage. Done in 5 minutes, and you move on with your day without a second thought, never once worrying it might turn into something worse. But 700 years ago? That same tiny cut could kill you within a week. No exaggeration, a scraped knee, a splinter, even a small kitchen burn could be a death sentence if it went the wrong way. No antibiotics. No hand sanitizer. No sterile bandages. Just infection, fever, and a coin flip on survival. And that coin flip happened constantly, to everyone, regardless of wealth or status. Kings and peasants alike faced the exact same odds once infection set in. Here's the thing, medieval doctors had no idea bacteria even existed. Germ theory wasn't discovered until the 1800s, nearly 600 years after the medieval period ended, which meant an entire civilization was fighting an enemy it couldn't see, name, or understand. So instead, they blamed illness on bad air, known as miasma, or an imbalance of 4 bodily fluids they called humors: blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile. Treatment often meant trying to rebalance these fluids through bloodletting, specific diets, or purging. Some even believed sickness was a punishment from God, sent to test faith or punish sin, which shaped how illness was treated just as much as any physical remedy. Prayer, pilgrimage, and confession were often considered just as important as any physical treatment. Which meant most treatments were built on theories that were completely wrong. And yet, buried inside centuries of guesswork, trial, and error, a handful of remedies actually worked, for reasons nobody at the time could have explained. Here's the surprising part, some of them accidentally worked. Take honey, one of the most common wound dressings across medieval Europe, from peasant households to royal courts, used by healers who had no concept of bacteria but noticed, again and again, that it helped. Healers packed wounds with honey, then wrapped them in linen, especially after battle, when infection was the real killer, far more than the wound itself. Battlefield surgeons often kept jars of honey close at hand, right alongside their surgical tools. And modern science actually backs this up. Honey is naturally antibacterial, a fact confirmed by countless lab studies centuries after medieval healers first relied on it purely through observation and repetition. Its low water content, plus natural hydrogen peroxide production, kills many types of bacteria on contact, creating an environment where infection simply can't take hold and spread the way it normally would. In fact, hospitals today still use medical-grade honey to treat burns and stubborn wounds, proving a medieval remedy earned its place in modern medicine, sitting right alongside advanced pharmaceutical treatments. Then there's something even stranger, moldy bread. Something most of us would throw straight in the trash without a second thought was, for centuries, a genuine and trusted medical tool. Long before penicillin was discovered in 1928, people were pressing moldy bread directly onto open wounds, hoping it would somehow help the healing process, based purely on generations of passed-down experience. Egyptian healers did it. Greek healers did it. Medieval Europeans did it too, all independently landing on the same remedy, thousands of miles and centuries apart, with no communication between them whatsoever. Why? Because some molds naturally produce antibiotic compounds. The exact same principle behind penicillin, the drug that would eventually save hundreds of millions of lives once science finally caught up with folk wisdom. They had no idea why it worked. They just knew that, sometimes, it did. And sometimes was enough to keep the practice alive, passed from healer to healer, for centuries. Battlefield surgeons had their own trick. Cleaning wounds with wine instead of water, a choice that seemed strange, even wasteful, but turned out to matter enormously for who lived and who didn't. Turns out, wine and vinegar are both mildly antibacterial, thanks to their acidity and alcohol content, properties nobody could explain at the time, but everyone could clearly observe in practice. Surgeons during the Crusades even noticed it. Wounds cleaned with wine healed noticeably better than wounds left untreated or cleaned with plain water, a pattern documented in surviving medical texts from the period. And even boiling their tools over a fire, without knowing why, cut down contamination by pure accident, heat-killing pathogens nobody knew existed, simply because fire was the tool available. And then there was the medicine cabinet growing right outside the door. No apothecary shop required. Just a garden, a field, or a nearby forest, and the accumulated knowledge of what worked and what didn't. Garlic, packed with natural antimicrobial compounds. Yarrow, used to stop bleeding and fight infection. Both grew wild across most of Europe, and both genuinely helped, long before anyone understood the chemistry behind why. And sphagnum moss. So absorbent, so mildly antiseptic, it was still being used to pack wounds during World War I. Nearly 1,000 years after medieval healers first relied on it on their own battlefields. A medieval remedy, still saving lives 700 years later, on battlefields its original users could never have imagined, carried forward purely because it kept working. But let's be honest, most of the time, none of this was enough. These remedies helped at the margins. They didn't come close to solving the core problem medieval society faced every single day. Simple infections like sepsis killed constantly. Childbirth fever alone killed thousands of mothers every single year, turning one of life's most common and hopeful events into one of its deadliest. Amputations without antibiotics? Brutally high mortality rates. Even a technically successful surgery could turn fatal within days if infection quietly set in afterward. Life expectancy stayed short. Because even a minor illness could spiral out of control, fast, with no reliable way to stop it once it started, and no understanding of why some people survived while others didn't. Here's the strange twist. Antibiotic resistance is now a growing global crisis, as bacteria evolve faster than we can develop new drugs to keep up with them. And scientists are going back, looking at medieval remedies like honey and specific molds. For new antibiotic compounds that modern medicine hasn't fully explored yet, hoping old solutions might hold the key to a very modern problem. What was once dismissed as superstition is now being studied seriously in labs, using the same scientific rigor once reserved exclusively for cutting-edge pharmaceutical research. Some of the same substances medieval healers reached for by trial and error are now being studied to fight antibiotic-resistant superbugs. The very threat modern medicine now fears most, in a strange full-circle moment centuries in the making. They didn't understand why it worked. They just knew that it did. Subscribe, I break down how people survived the impossible, one era at a time.